What's going on, Cap City? It's your girl D here with 8th House Readings. Here to do your astrology read. This is your monthly astrology read for September. So we're kicking off September 2022 with this read. I hope all is well with everybody. I hope that you guys checked out the most recent posts that I did for you. I did a bonus read for all the signs. I named them like little streets, avenues, roads. The theme was, on the move, highway, or what have you. But at any rate, hopefully you checked out the readings related to Capricorn. If not, I'm going to have some posted at the end of this reading, so just stay tuned. You'll have about 4 of them you can choose from, right? This is going to be a general read. Take what resonates, leave the rest. Now, if you need a personal read, my information's in the box below. And I have a second channel. It's called the Many Styles of Tarot. The link for that is going to be in the box below. So hopefully you'll subscribe to both channels, hit the notification bells, and that way we can connect. All right, so let's get into your reading. This is going to be an astrology read, meaning that there's no cards with this reading. This is just me reading the planetary alignments based on being a sun sign or a Capricorn ascendant. And we're going to talk about where the planetary alignments are in each area of your life and how this energy may affect you. Okay, what I also recommend is I did one for August, so I recommend that you go to the Capricorn 2022 playlist and look for the astrology read for August. Check that out. See if anything in there resonates with you now that we're towards the end and tying up August going into September. See if anything in there resonates with you more so now than it did when you listened to it maybe at the beginning of the month or in the middle of the month. All right. But don't forget to watch these types of readings towards the end of the month to see if you can get more out of it, maximize your opportunity for messages that you need to hear. So let's get to it, Cap City. So you have, I'm looking at your chart here. I drew your chart out. I drew them out. But your chart here has 1, 2, 3, like your first 6 houses have a planet or 2 in them. So what this is telling me is like the first half of the zodiac, it represents you and your psyche. The second half, which is from house 7 through 12, that represents you and your relationship with those around you. So we got a lot of planets in your first 6 houses. So this is all about you and going through some changes, changes in mindset, perception, perspective. Some of you might even be moving or relocating also is what I get to. But let's talk about your first house for a minute. So that's where Pluto is. Now, this is September. I do want to put out there that we're going to, next month we're going to deal with all the planetary switching that's going on because there's a lot of switching of planets and energies going on next month. But just so you know, Pluto, which has been in your first house all throughout the summer, is going to be going direct next month. So with Pluto, it's an energy of a power struggle. It's the intensity behind things, the power dynamics between you and yourself or a person, place, or thing. Now, when Pluto's in retrograde, what that does is it allows you to reflect back on any power struggles that you may have had. And since we're dealing with your first house, we're dealing with the energies of how you present yourself to the world, how you stand your ground in the face of adversity. What you bring to the world, things like that. And so with Pluto in retrograde, Pluto, like I said, is all about, intensity and power struggles, but it's also about, what was the word that I wanted to use? It just slipped right out of my tongue. But, Pluto deals with death and birth, right? And it deals with the cycle. It's the cycle of life, death and birth. So, certain circumstances may die in the way that they are, so that new circumstances can be born. So I like to use the word, the words creative destruction when I describe Pluto energy, but it can be death and rebirth in any form, shape, imaginable, spiritual, physical realm, etc. So with Pluto here, you got a lot going on in reference to who you are. You're looking at, the power struggles that you are going through with yourself, because you are going through, it's like a growth spurt, I feel like, I want to say. And we go through them all our lives. You don't just go through a mental growth spurt, at certain ages. Well, you do. And I feel like you're at a stage now where you're going through that, okay, especially with Pluto in your first house, because this deals with, how you present yourself to the world. So that has a lot to do with how you feel about yourself, right? And so with Pluto there, you know, there may be some internal power struggles in reference to changing your perception, your idea about things. There could be some mindsets or ideologies that are no longer serving you, so you let those die, and then, you know, new ones are born. So for example, maybe you're the type of person where you used to be, okay, I treat people the way I want to be treated. Maybe based on your experience in doing that, things didn't work out for you, so maybe you've adopted the situation or scenario now where it's like, I treat people accordingly, right? So it could be going from one mindset to another in situations like that. If it's a power struggle within. Now, if it's you dealing with power struggles external to you, some of the relationships that you were in, maybe you've let these relationships go, or maybe you're questioning relationships that you're in that are presenting power struggles that are making you question your integrity, who you are as a person, what it is that you want, and you're considering letting these relationships go. And because these planets are really affecting the first 6 houses, this could have a lot to do with, you know, what you were taught as a child, how you were raised. You know, you're revisiting some of these ideologies and views and realizing that maybe you need to tweak them so that they better fit who you are as a person now that you're going through a metamorphosis, all right, with that Pluto energy. And then when we talk about your second house, that energy is ruled by Saturn right now. Saturn is in retrograde. So your second house has to do with, you know, internally your self-esteem, has to do with your physical body itself. But the way you come off as far as, you know, being able to provide for yourself is the second house, in reference to what kind of financial stability can you provide for you and yours, right? Are you able to take care of yourself? You know, it's the energy of scarcity and what you do when, you know, you feel that things are limited and you're not able to provide, right? What energy do you morph into? Well, when it comes to this energy, you morph into Aquarius energy, which is more of a, you know, you detach from things that are just not important and you focus on the goal itself. And so with Saturn here, your ruling planet here in retrograde, you know, Saturn deals with when time is up. It deals with karma. It deals with maturing and growing and letting go. That has a lot to do with knowing when time is up, when it's time to move on from things. And when Saturn is in retrograde, that is exactly what we're examining. Of course, when we look at planets in retrograde, we're looking at the reflection internally within us, but we're also, you know, we're looking at like who, what, when, where, how, and why in reference to the energies of the planets that are in retrograde in the area of life in which you're experiencing them. So with Saturn in retrograde, you know, you may be looking at, okay, where do I need to implement more discipline? Where should I have implemented discipline and I didn't? Look where it got me, right? Or where did I apply too much discipline or, you know, didn't let go and move on, and now where did that get me, right? Or, yeah, thank God I've let go of that situation, now look where I am. You know, so it's just looking at where did you apply restraint to, where did you know when it's time to let go and move on, and all of that has to do with wrapping up karmic cycles, especially with Pluto in your first house and Saturn in your second. Both of these planets deal with karma in very different ways, but they go side by side. You don't usually deal with the energies of Saturn unless you're dealing with Pluto, and you definitely are not dealing with Pluto without Saturn. Because, you know, Pluto is the soul. The soul goes through one avatar at a time, one body at a time. And while you're here in each body, you're accruing and paying for karma, right? So that's Saturn and Pluto together. So I feel like in your first and second house, you're wrapping up some karmic cycles that may have stemmed from childhood or past lives. But you're coming into your own now, right? On another level. So you're taking things to the next level. Now in your third house, where it comes to your ideas, your views, your perspective on things, the different lifestyle experiences that you've had, that comes off in a very Piscean way. So you're very open. You know, you can see different perspectives of a situation. You're not closed-minded to information. You're very compassionate when you're dealing with others. You're very nurturing, okay? And that energy is being led by Neptune, right? Neptune rules Pisces naturally. But when Neptune is a planet, when it's direct, it's a planet of the creative imagination. It deals with your psychic abilities, your spiritual gifts. The God in you is what I like to call it, right? And it also deals with, when it deals with the God in you and the higher self, when it's in its negative form, you know, it deals with the demons you have in you, right? That you have to fight. And sometimes when Neptune is in retrograde, The illusions we paint so that we don't see those demons, that illusion is being removed. Those rose-colored glasses are being broken. That curtain that's covering the back, what's going on backstage, has been pulled down, and so now everybody sees the intricate layers of what's really going on. And not only are you seeing this within yourself, you may be seeing it in reference to people around you. So when it comes to your environments, your surroundings, your perspective on things, you may be realizing that, okay, yeah, I was a little lenient in reference to this. That's their lifestyle, but that's not for me. Oh, I see what they doing. Okay, I really didn't know that that's what that was, but now I see what's up. All right, yeah, okay, well, that's them. So I feel like you're going to be seeing that with a lot with your friends, also with your siblings, because we're dealing with the third house and cousins, but a lot with your social life, right? Really seeing people for who they are. Now, your fourth house your fourth house is Aries. Now, you have Jupiter retrograde ruling that house right now, and Chiron retrograde ruling that house right now. So Jupiter is a planet of expansion, growth, largeness. When you think about large and excess and getting as much as you can, that's what Jupiter is. It is one of the biggest planets in our galaxy. So it reflects expansion, growth, excess, a lot, right? And when it's in retrograde, we're looking at, okay, well, did we overdo it? Did we overindulge in this area? Or it also deals with when it's upright or direct. It also deals with good luck, good fortune, and looking at the glass half full and being optimistic and taking risks. And also your spiritual journey, the journeys that you go on when you acquire wisdom, the things that you've been through. So when Jupiter's in retrograde, you're looking back at, okay, the spiritual beliefs, your religious beliefs, your philosophical beliefs, do they match up to what you were? There's one thing about what you were taught, right, and what you were raised on, and there's another thing in reference to what you've experienced in life, and now based on what you experienced in life, it doesn't actually go with how you were raised, so you have to tweak it. Just like the scenario I gave you, when you were taught to treat people the way you wanted to be treated, but based on your experience, maybe now you're like, no, I treat people accordingly. If they deserve to be treated nice, I treat them nice. If they don't, I don't deal with them at all, right? So maybe you've adopted that philosophy, but like I said, there's what you're going to be reflecting on, and mostly is the things that you were taught, the things that you learned based on what you grew up, what you experienced. You're questioning that and opposed to what the world has presented to you, and so now you're shifting and making adjustments. Is the best way I can describe what you're going through. So that's what's going on in your third house. Now your fourth house, we were talking about Jupiter. So about taking risks. Now this comes out in your fourth house has to do with your emotions, your private emotions, your feelings, and your level of emotional stability and security, right? Who are the people that we feel most emotionally stable and secure around, or that most, in a picture perfect world, that's who we're supposed to be most stable and secure around? Our family, right? So the fourth house deals with your family. It deals with the stability or instability and security, and the connection that you all have with one another, as far as through generations, how you guys have coped, how you dealt with each other, how you provided stability, security for one another. What makes you family, right? So we talk about your roots, your heritage, and how that affects you now as an adult in reference to how you go about showing that you care, and looking for emotional stability in relationships. Jupiter's in retrograde here, so there could have been some relationships that you indulged in, where maybe you took a risk that you shouldn't have, or maybe you were being greedy in some way, shape, or form. And for example, maybe there was how can I say this? Family situations, family dynamics. Maybe you don't see the glass half full with your family. Maybe what they taught you were big on that, but now with Jupiter in retrograde, now you're looking back at it like, okay, maybe it's a matter of you switching religions or ideologies or spiritual beliefs. Maybe you've been introduced to something different, and it contradicts what you were taught, or what you understand about what you were taught, or how you were raised. So it could be that some of you, you may be considering leaving the country. Maybe you already have, and maybe you're considering coming back. So I feel like, some of you could be considering that. If you're not actually leaving, maybe you're considering purchasing or buying a second home, or having a second home in another country. Okay, we're also dealing with Chiron here in Aries for the collective, and Chiron is the energy of a wounded healer. Like, it's the energy that's synonymous with the fact that we all have wounds, whether you can see them or not. We all have wounds, and we all have to live with these wounds. They may have healed physically, but they go a lot deeper than what most people may imagine or think. And some of us are still wounded by these wounds that may have happened to us decades ago. So what Chiron is, the energy of it, what it represents is the fact that you have these wounds, but you're still able to go out here and be a productive citizen in society and do what it is that you're spiritually aligned to do, right? And what you're also supposed to do with this energy is use this energy, find out, explore yourself in reference to it, and find out how you can use it to your benefit to help you heal, right? As well as maybe heal others. Maybe, you could turn your pain into money, right? So wherever you have to look at your Chiron natally to find out what's going on with that. But for the collective right now, we're in the Chiron and Aries energy, which is an energy of, despite everything that's been going on and what you've experienced, you still prevail, you still move on. So with your fifth house, that's ruled by Taurus, right? Or that is the house where Taurus resides for you. And the ruling planet there right now is Uranus. Now the North Node is here too, and it's going to be here for another, year for us, right? We've already it's usually about 18 months that the nodes stay in a sign. And we've been here since January, so we've got about a year left or so, give or take, with the North Node here in your fifth house, right, of Taurus. Now the fifth house has to do with this is like the house of what you like to do for fun. It's also the house of pleasures too. A lot of people think that it's Scorpio. Scorpio is the actual act of sex, and basically what happens is once your energies merge, the actual sexual tie or spiritual tie that's created when you're intimate. But the intimacy, the type of intimacy you like, what turns you on, what your fetishes are, what satisfies you type of energy, that has to do with the fifth house. Also, this house is the house of situationships, friends with benefits, one night stands, relationships that have a lot of, and if it is a long-term relationship, it's a relationship that has a lot of chemistry, a lot of fire in it, right? So some of you with Uranus in retrograde here, you could be, if you're in a relationship, you could be looking for ways to, put a spark in things, is what I want to say, up the ante with things, Uranus is in retrograde right now. Uranus is an element of surprise, whether it's good or bad. So when it's in retrograde, maybe you're in the energy where it's like, okay, yeah, we usually have a real wild, happy, exciting sex life, but right now things are a little boring, or, we can't do it the way we want to right now because our work schedules have changed and things like that. So, maybe it's a downtime for you with Uranus in retrograde. Another scenario situation is, the fifth house deals with children. And so maybe all summer when Uranus was direct, or, for a while anyway, the kids were just all over the place because it was difficult to understand what was going on with the school system, especially with the pandemic. So the kids were just like I call Uranus like the Tasmanian devil. The kids were just all over the place. They didn't really have a structure. They didn't really have too much of an environment where, it was based on school because, school was questionable, it was up in the air. So now with with Uranus in retrograde, perhaps now that things are slowing down, maybe you're able to figure out, your children's itinerary for school, or maybe you as a teacher, if you don't have children, are able to now, put a plan in place or plan a curriculum or, whatever, get your syllabus together, confirm if you're going to be, teaching or not, whether you're teaching remotely or whether you're, going back into the classroom environment, things like that. So, you could be, you're trying to do whatever you can because you're trying to do this so that it comes out in a Taurus-y way. Taurus is all about, your money, right? Your stability. So you're trying to get this situated now where, you got everything aligned so that you can go ahead and teach, or your children can go ahead back to school because now you can go back to work. For some of you, maybe you couldn't go to work, or you had to work remotely or part-time because there was an issue with childcare. So maybe now that the children are going back to school now, things are going to be, you're able to put plan in place, or you're able to deal with the aftermath of whatever happened with Uranus being direct. You know, I like to look at Uranus as like a lightning strike. Like it comes really quick, it's really powerful, it's really loud, it's very impactful, but it leaves just as quickly as it came, and it could leave a lot of disaster. You know, it could leave some good, but it could leave some disaster. So when Uranus is in retrograde, another way to look at it is, what is the disaster that's left over, right? So we're dealing with the fifth house. So for example, one night stands, situationships that you might have gotten into. Maybe you jumped into them real quick, lightning fast with that Uranus direct, but now that Uranus is in retrograde, you're looking at it like, damn, you know, maybe I jumped in too quickly, or you're dealing with the ramifications of that lightning strike, whether it's good or not. But it could have been started from a one night stand, or it could be, you know, you gambling, because the fifth house deals with gambling, casinos, lottery, quick money. So maybe you went on a gambling spree. You know, Uranus was direct. You're like, yo, I got this. I'm gonna get this. And then boom, Uranus goes direct. You lose all your money. You know, or you're seriously in debt. Not only did you lose all your money, you could be thousands of dollars in debt from gambling, and now you got to deal with the aftermath of it, right? So. And whatever the aftermath of it is, you want to do whatever it's gonna take to make you comfortable, because you're in that Taurus energy in your fifth house. So you want to be comfortable. You want to be able to experience life's indulgences. You want security. You want stability. Now with the sixth house, we got Mars here, all right, and that's your Gemini house. Mars is going to go retrograde in October as well. And like I said, we got a lot of activity going on in October. We'll get to that. But we'll start feeling the shifts of it, or some of you could already be feeling the shifts of it, especially with Pluto, Saturn in your first and second house. And also Jupiter is going to be going back. It's in retrograde. It's going to be going back into Pisces on the 28th of October too. So a lot of activity. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 different planets switching up energies in October alone. Okay. So with Mars, though, Mars is all about, you know, lighting the fire up under things. Let's go. Let's go right now. We got to do this. Come on. What are you saying? Wait, like, that's the energy of it. It could be very intense. And it's all about what it wants to defend, right? So this could be about defending your views and your ideas in reference to how you have your priorities set up. Because we're dealing with this energy in your sixth house, which deals with your priorities, your hierarchy of what comes first, what goes second, what goes third, you know, who's most important to who's least important. And so there could be some fighting and aggravation because maybe you have one thought one day and then the next thought the other day. And then, you know, you're going back and forth between what's what and what works best. And so maybe you have problems keeping a schedule or setting up a schedule because one minute you feel it works and then maybe the next minute you don't feel it works. But don't drive yourself crazy about that. Just know that this is this Mars energy, and you need to try your best to learn how to deal with it because it's going to be here till the end of the year. Mars and Gemini. So we're all dealing with it in you know, just different areas of our lives, but just not really being able to make a decision or making decisions too quickly or jumping from one thing to another really quickly. That's in the area of life for you where we're talking about your health. We're talking about your routines, your patterns, the things you do every day, trying to set up a schedule. So if you find yourself frustrated about not keeping a schedule or trying to set a schedule or always going back, revamping the schedule, it's that type of energy we're dealing with right now. So your seventh house, where Cancer is, we don't have any major planets there. Your eighth house, which is Leo, there's no planets there right now. But you do have Virgo in your ninth house. You have Venus ruling Virgo in the ninth house. Venus is going here on the 5th. I wrote the 9th, but it's going here on the 5th. So Venus is the planet of indulgences, beauty, money, wealth, anything that, you know, luxuries in life, right? And with your ninth house, this is the house of your spiritual, your higher self, like your spiritual self, your religious self, your philosophical self. This is the house where it represents the journey you've been on to come to the conclusions you have come to in reference to your spiritual or religious beliefs or your philosophical belief if you don't have either religious or spiritual beliefs, right? There's some people who are atheists. But the way you come off in these types of energies is very Virgoian. Like, you're very analytical. You really examine your thoughts. You examine your views. You examine all of the information. You take your time to decide with it. You mull it over. You adjust it and try to see if it works. If it doesn't work, and if it does, and then you'll go back to the drawing board type of energy. And so with Venus here, this is something that either you're going to find an appreciation in, or somebody who may come to you in reference to areas of these life may find they may value you, or you may be able to charge because of this. So some of you may be in, like, for example, some of you could be tarot card readers, or you could be in the occult sciences, because of your organized structure, because of what you do. Virgo also rules health. So some of you could be coming up with a lot of, you're going to see a lot of people selling elixirs. Elixirs are going to be big right now, right? People buying them, selling them. And when I talk about elixirs, I'm talking about things like colloidal silver, a combination of whatever it is that you want to put together. Like, some people will do colloidal silver, a couple drops of colloidal silver, a couple drops of monatomic gold, and some hot water, and a squeeze of lemon. Like, that's what I'll do some mornings. That's really good to do. Iridium, some people have iridium, platinum, like taking in a lot of minerals that you normally don't get in foods, but your body thrives off of these minerals, and it helps you with your psychic abilities, and it helps you with your immunity. So tapping into a lot of elixirs, love potions as well, because Venus deals with love. So like I said, you may be looking, if you're in a relationship, some of you may be looking to spruce things up. So you and your partner may be, getting together and, doing whatever it is that you guys do to spice things up. So, that's a beautiful thing. I like that energy. Now, your 10th house is where Mercury is, and that's Libra. Now, Mercury is all about the energy of information, processing information. It doesn't matter if it's good or bad. There is no good or bad. That's, relative to the person receiving it and the person giving it. But Mercury doesn't deal with the emotional aspect of it. It just deals with the information. So, when Mercury is going in retrograde on the 9th, okay? So, another planet going in retrograde right now. But then we got a couple of the planets coming out next month. So with it being in your 10th house, this is the house of your career aspirations, your professional achievements, what you do to make a living, who people know you as. Oh, that's Sam with the green car, or that's Sam the dentist, all right, or that's Mary with the red hair, or that's Mary with the white picket fence, or she's got the she's got the black poodle, whoever you're known as, how you're recognized out in the world. And so Libra is here. So your energy in reference to that comes off very Libra and very relatable, right? Liking to connect with different types of people. Different types of people may feel like they can relate and connect with you as far as in your work environment. Now, Mercury is going to be going retrograde on the 9th. So when Mercury goes retrograde, we're looking at energies of, your perspective on something. Maybe you should look at it differently, or maybe you now look at it differently. Okay, or maybe, you may have misunderstood something, okay, or maybe now you get it and you didn't before, or you didn't get it then. You know what I'm saying, right? So it's just a matter of how you see things. It's like your perspective may change, or you may wonder why you changed your perspective when what you originally saw was right and exact. And this could be in your career aspirations. So some of you could be, damn, I switched careers. I don't know why I did that. Or why did I go into this situation knowing damn well that, I really didn't want to do it anyway. So it could be a situation where you take a job that you just take it because you need it, not because you really are interested in it, but you need a job right now, so you take it. So it could be that type of thing that you're in. And when Mercury goes retrograde, you're like, yo, why did I take this job? Oh my God, now I need to find something else. I just quit another job. And I don't know why I took this one, because this one was similar to the next one, but I needed money. So it could be something like that. But you're going to be questioning your thought process behind a lot of things when it comes to balancing your life out, right? And balancing the relationships out in your life. So it could be the people that you work with. Maybe you thought it would be a good partnership, or, maybe you thought it would be a good project to work on because you want to work with Mary and John. But once you actually get in there and you start working with Mary and John, you may be regretful of it, because maybe Mary and John just want you to do all the work, when in reality you came here to learn from them, right? It could be something like that, right? But you may be feeling some type of different way about your career aspirations, your work environment, your professional achievements. And also it could be about your reputation, how you see yourself, right? Do you see yourself as someone who's being fair and honest and just and trying to relate, or do you see yourself as someone who's being a people pleaser? You're bending over backwards, doing too much, and you're not getting rewarded for it, or there's no justification in it, right? So you're going to be looking at, you may be considering those types of thoughts, in reference to what's going on in your work environment. Now, your 11th house, where Scorpio is where the North Node is. I'm sorry, the South Node. That's the opposite polarity of the Taurus North Node. Now, this is in your 11th house, so this has to do with your friends and your social life. So you've already mastered these energies here. So you've already dealt with really tumultuous friendships. You've already been in like occult groups, maybe in your past life, or maybe in your in your childhood. Maybe you grew up in religious environments that were like occult like in nature, right? And so you experienced that already. And so now and they were very toxic environments. So you could be trying to rid yourself of the remnants of that, trying to get to a place that's more peaceful in your relationships, or trying to look for more peaceful relationships, more peaceful connections with people. But I feel like with that energy that you've mastered in the South Node, what it's basically saying is that I've already dealt with this. I know the red flags of that, and when I see those red flags, I will never go that route again, right? So these are lessons learned in reference to friendships, right? The people that you, or organizations that you were involved with. And then you have nothing in your 12th house. That's where Sag is. There's not anything in that house. So we went through all of the houses where we have some planets and the activity that you may experience, or scenarios or situations of what's going on there. So hopefully you get something out of it. Don't forget to watch the August reading to see if you got something out of that one, the August astrology read. There's going to be other readings posted on the screen probably right now while I'm talking, so make sure you check those out as well. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and go into the box below to get the link to the other channel, the Many Styles of Tarot. Subscribe to that as well. And if you need a reading, my information is in the box below. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next reading, Cap City.